interactive conversation with inspiring voices from the design world. And today, we're absolutely thrilled to be joined by one such voice that has carved a unique path in the design world. Over to Urvi.
Hey
Troy
guys.
is a designer, animator, sound artist, and storyteller whose work lives at a beautiful intersection of visuals, rhythm, and meaning. He is the co founder of Blackbird Design Studio, where he crafts experiences that move literally and emotionally. Over the years, he brought life and motion to networks like Nickelodeon, Discovery India, and Star World, and lent his sound design expertise to films like Wade and internationally acclaimed Sultana's Dream. He is also an educator, giving young creatives and continues to explore how narrative and design can cross boundaries and mediums. We are incredibly grateful to have him here with us today, not just to talk about his journey, but to share his thoughts, questions, and reflections with all of us. So, without further ado, please join me giving a warm virtual welcome to Troy Vasanth.
Hey guys. Good evening, everyone. And thank you, first of all, for giving me this opportunity. Uh, I really didn't know what exactly is this about. So today's presentation is going to be a bit, what do you call, informal in the way that I would like to share my story uh, in terms of how I'm, how it all started and where I am right now and what I'm up to, including the works that we are doing right now. Uh, but before we get into all of that, let me quickly introduce. My name is Troy. Already they've done this, but other than the professional part, I'll just introduce myself in terms of okay where I'm from and all. So I'm from Kanyakumari, Tamil Nadu. If you guys know the southernmost tip of this country, and I did my schooling mostly in Tamil Nadu, and I did my architecture degree also from one of the colleges in Tamil Nadu only. So it's a very interesting story in terms of how I got into design. Like every other parents, my parents also wanted me to do engineering or medical. They gave me this choice: ki, whatever you do, you will have to take a professional course. And this is a time, directly from school. I'm talking about 1999, 2000, right? And in 2000, not so many people were aware of design as a field. The only choices at that time was mostly engineering, and that too because of the drive that happened uh, because of what do you call the IT industry boom. So I I was given this option that you can take any course, but it has to be a professional course. So I was left with only like three options. One is either engineering or medical medicine, and I was not interested in medicine at all, and I didn't have the marks also for it any which way. So I obviously had one last choice, which was architecture. And to some extent, at that point of time, I thought, okay, architecture is still something that I can, get by. I can do. Uh, and obviously, right after school, you're also not so aware of what's available at that time and what even architecture. If you get into it, once you get into it, you will understand, okay, what really happens. How the practice is happening in the country and everything. So when I got into architecture, I genuinely didn't have any other idea. I really wanted to do well in architecture, and so this is again a time when you really didn't have computers so much. Like computers and all just started coming in, and it was not still like, uh, the same kind of accessibility was not there at that time. So eventually, only when I went to college did I really sit in a computer and start working with a computer. So you can imagine the time at that, and what happened in my earlier college. This is a college called National Institute of Technology, Trichirappalli. Right now it is called NIT, but back in the days it was called Regional Engineering College. So, uh, so in that campus there was a computer lab called Octagon, and that used to be a mecca for me. I used to always hang around there because that's the only place where I could actually sit with a computer and work. And softwares used to be something that I was very interested in exploring in very early days because they looked very interesting to me. The interfaces of softwares used to look very interesting, and I like exploring that. So that is how I really got into just exploring, different things. So um, 3ds Max was a software at that point of time. uh, I got into it, started looking at the interface, and I was very interested. And I saw some of the example files, and I saw, oh, you could actually animate things, move things around in time. And that is how I really got into this idea of animating. And I remember making, stupid logos like the Universal, films logo. You have seen that globe and the text coming around. So I used to make such things at that time, and just for fun, all of that is happened. So then, around the same time, okay, I got introduced to a software called Fruity Loops. Right now, you probably all know it as FL Studio, those who are interested in music production and all. But this software was called Fruity Loops, and that interface really blew my mind. I saw that interface, and I was so, you know, uh, blown away just looking at it. And I thought, oh, something could be graphically so interesting and so intuitive as well. It is one of the softwares that actually led me into music production, because I am not coming from a background where anybody from my family is into music. None of them are into music. Nobody is into any such art. I'm the first one to be into this. And then, so for me to look at a software and understand that, oh, I can actually make something with this, that was a very powerful feeling. So these are the two main events in my life that actually led me into design, uh, eventually. But at this point, it is just software and everything. As you know, software doesn't really make anything. It is just a tool. But it's eventually us who, do. And design principles are way more important than any software. But at that point of time, I was not aware of all of this. I just enjoyed the process of just doing things and discovering things within that software. Now, I completed my architecture. There was this one small, like internship you have here. We have uh, one semester full of training. That's when I really went into, you know, um, architecture training basically. And I discovered that, okay, architecture practice is not as easy as uh, what you study. And somewhat by that time, I was more interested in either music or uh, animation. Now, it happens that one of my seniors from this college, she had gone abroad, studied animation, and she had come to present her work in my campus as a alumni meet sort of a thing. So when she came and she presented, she has done work with the first Shrek film, and the final uh, in the finale, she is the one who's responsible for the lighting of that particular scene. And so she showed us her work, and that really inspired me a lot. And I decided that if I have to do something, I will do animation in my life. That is how the journey started. But then I completed my architecture course, graduated. Then I thought, what, why not let me just straight away go to the industry and become an animator. I know how to work with 3D. So I tried doing this. I went to Chennai. I got a company. I mean, I don't want to mention their name, but I got into a company. Uh, my salary was 5,000 rupees at that time. And for 2 months, I slogged my ass, I was just working like, and uh, basically I got very exhausted, yeah, by the amount of work that they were giving me. And I decided that maybe, this is not right, because this is somewhat, due to my not having a degree, or not having a proper, education in this field, is the reason why I'm kind of not doing well, or this is not the right. I just realized that this is not the right place. So I quit that job in 2 months only. Then I went home, and that's when I got to know about NID, because one of my seniors from that college again joined NID, and she told me about that. There's this place you can look into it, and it also has animation. And then I started looking into an NID. Of course, I got into NID, um, and only when I came into NID, that is when I realized all this while I was doing music just for fun. I had this as a hobby. I used to keep producing something or the other, and to be honest, I can't even hear those music nowadays. It used to be that bad, but I used to still practice, keep doing it because I also didn't have any musical background, or I didn't learn music. Then eventually, when I came to NID, that is when I realized that okay, I'm working with an audio visual medium, and this requires audio. And at that point of time, there was no one who really took audio very seriously, sound design in general seriously in NID. And I started developing an interest in this particular subject. I started making a lot of, I used to take films from my batch mates. I used to take films from film and video students of my batch, and I started making sound design and music for their films. That is how eventually, uh, I started gaining some experience in, imagining sound, and doing a lot of this also helped me kind of develop that experience. And I just, when somebody comes and gives me a film, it just automatically happens that I start, creating a sketch in my head of what needs to be done, how to go about it. Then eventually, uh, me and Rajesh, this friend of mine who's also a partner in Blackbird Design right now, we partnered up to make a film together. It's called Good Morning Mumbai. It's available online, you guys can go check it out in YouTube. This film again was a big experience in terms of uh, just because the film is also a large scale film, and then uh, we had to work with a lot of character acting as well as recording the actual sounds, and to completely create that entire world. And I'm not from Mumbai. I have been to Mumbai twice before that. One was a very short trip, and the second one was a kind of a 2 weeks trip. In that 2 weeks trip is where the inspiration for this film came. uh, like half the story is Rajesh's, but I'm the one who insisted, let's make this film, make this story into a film, because I also had the similar experience there. And we did that film. Film did really well, uh, all around. uh, Eventually then I got into working as a freelancer. I started teaching immediately after I graduated from the year 2009. I think, in fact, even before graduating I started teaching. So and especially in sound design, because I was very interested in this subject. And eventually, after a couple of years staying in Ahmedabad, I was doing some freelance and all. It didn't really, you know, I didn't have any direction at that time, and I felt like maybe I need to get some industry experience, and that is when I joined Nickelodeon in the year 2013 end. You can just say 2014. So I worked in Nickelodeon for 1 year. Again, for some reason, I felt that maybe kids, or kids entertainment is not my genre. Then I wanted to get into a little bit more adult oriented channel. Then I moved to mm, Movies Now Plus. That is another channel that I worked for another 1 year. And by the time you know I was, I was not very happy with the work that I was doing in these networks. But good work was happening, but still I was not very happy because I was very interested in getting into sound design and music. So in the year 2016, after 2 years of just working in the industry, I decided that I will quit and I'll start doing freelance, and I'll do only music. So by 2016, I had quit job, and for my luck, I'll be honest, it isn't very easy to just suddenly get into a field and then do this. But my luck, I started getting a lot of projects in sound design and music production at that time, because everybody that I knew earlier, the network that you keep building, slowly by working. If you remember, I told you that I used to take work from people, and I do like for free in my college days. Just take their work, just tell them that I'll do your sound design. all these people eventually are in the industry, and when they have to do, something with sound, they obviously remember me. And then I that's how I got a lot of projects in the beginning. And suddenly I thought, okay, yeah, this is a viable option. It's not, that difficult to do this. Then I started working on a lot of films, and Wade came by the time I was doing freelance. uh, then I also did a lot of commercial work, which I'm not very proud of. I'm not showing also, but I did a lot of commercial work. I did, uh, you know, like these televisions have a lot of little things. Say idents are there, then promos are there, then you have title sequences. So one of the very early projects that I got was title sequence music for title sequence for a Marathi music channel. I have no idea what that channel is till date. I was just told that there is this channel and they are going to launch, and there's like 8 different kind of shows, and we want music for all those. So I had like 20 seconds of composition I had to make for all of that. That's when I also experienced that commercial industry works very differently from your artistic endeavors, um, where commercial has a very clear idea that they want, uh, like peppy, happy, all that sort of work. So that's when I also started doing, what do you call, started learning a lot of music at that point of time. um, I know music theory very well, but I cannot play an instrument to save my life, but I still can compose music. So here again, the idea is that you have to start imagining. Imagination is where it all happens. You don't really have to play something, or you know as storytellers, that's the main part of it. Like, we have to imagine and express that concept to somebody, or communicate that idea. So anyways, this was all done, and I started, I mean, from 2016 to 2018 I was doing this freelance. And eventually, I think Rajesh and some of my friends started coming together. Everyone was fed up with corporate work, and we all wanted to start a firm of our own, so that there's enough amount of freedom and enough amount of the kind of work that we want to do also. So that is when four of us started this firm, Blackbird Design, in 2018. And since then, I have been part of it. Of course, I'm one of the co-founders. um, right now only me and Rajesh are still working in this. um, we've been doing a lot of commercial works, like for Discovery, for Hotstar, for many other televisions. Not only televisions, we also do a lot of murals. Recently also we did some murals for a the shoe company called Mochiko, for them. These are all commercial work mostly. uh, and in 2009, I think around pandemic, um, we started working with Isabel for her film. Isabel is somebody who we met during our college days in NID. So she was one of our visiting faculties. So she had come to take um, experimental animation for us, and we really enjoyed working with her. She kind of like opened up our mind in a very different way, because anyway the course was also experimental. And we learned a lot in her course, and so we had very immense respect for her. And what she used to do is she used to come here, and in these 2 or 3 months gap she used to make a short film. And obviously she takes help from the students, and she pays well. And she also, uh, and it's actually a great opportunity for us to learn a lot from her while working with her, on her films. So I have worked with her on multiple projects since that time. Rajesh has also worked with her on multiple projects. We both together worked in one of the films. And so this work relationship had started a long time back with Isabel. Then, eventually when she was doing, making her feature length film, she needed somebody to produce like, uh, 10 minutes. I think we produced only 10 minutes, but these 10 minutes, for a studio, small studio like us, is also a big task. And we, what do you say? We kind of started working with her during this pandemic time, and then eventually we kind of completed. We just like with a very small team. It was just 3 or 4 of us, and we also employed some interns in the middle once in a while whenever they come by. But it was just 3 of us who worked on that whole thing, and it took a really long time. Making a feature length film also takes a lot of time. That's when we realized, okay, what's the amount of work that is required. Eventually, if you have a film, then you have to also think about distribution. You have to also think about the commercial viability of that film. You see, me and Rajesh, we didn't really do that very well with our film Good Morning Mumbai. We kind of made that film, we uploaded it on the net, and even forgot the password of this username account. This is a learning in failure, I would say. Just when you have your work now, have utmost respect for it and try and keep it safe, and figure out ways in which you can actually commercialize it, uh, because it also, when we say commercializing now, it is not only just money. We are not talking about just money, but we are talking about reach, for how much people actually get exposed to this work. That is also there. So we got to know a lot about these things while working with Isabel, because we kind of went through the whole process of, from the beginning, pre-production onwards, till the end when she had to find producers for all these different sections of filmmaking. Anyways, so that is done, and then we are right now working on a couple of projects. I of course cannot show you guys that because of NDA agreements, because they are ongoing projects. But we are doing some films again, animation short films for a NGO who is working with forest conservatory. So it's a subject that we feel good about. Um, you know. All right. As far as presentation goes, I really do not have anything to present, let's say. But I just wanted to really share my experience doing all of these different things and how I reached here. Uh, One thing I want to talk about music production or music, sound design and all of these things. Uh, Without knowing, in my class 12th, I got a gift, a small Walkman. At that point of time, we had cassettes. There was no disc and all, or even MP3. So I had this cassette Walkman, and I used to listen to a lot of music at that time. And this listening to the music, when I say listening to music, I really listen to each and every individual elements and how a composition is put together. I used to be, I was able to analyze it and then kind of map that in my brain. Like I used to hum along the bass line, hum along the melody, or hum along these things. Now, this is a very important aspect, I feel like, for me to eventually get into music, because then it became easy for me to imagine these elements individually and put it all together. um, so yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for that. This is exactly what we wanted for our session as well. Um, do you have anything to present, or we can open up the floor for questions?
Yeah, we can open up. See, the presentation is basically, if you go to our website, which is blackbirddesign.in, you can see
Hmm.
our work. We have put it up there. I don't think we have updated it so much,
Hmm.
but most of the work is there. And other than that, Sultana's Dreams again is not out in online, so you won't be able to see that. But you can just check snippets of it if you search the same thing online. Um, yeah, so we can actually open the floor for questions. Or
So I had a question. You said that putting out Good Morning Mumbai on YouTube was kind of a failure because weren't able to commercialize it as well. But do you think that because you put it out on YouTube, like today we put out our projects on Behance and stuff to get more viewers to extend our reach. So don't you think that putting it on YouTube might have gotten you the reach that you desired for?
um, uh, how do I say this? Okay, yes, of course, putting it online was not a mistake, but then to
Mm.
not manage that account. to forget the password, and now you have no way of actually recovering it also. Now that is a problem. What I meant by that was, you have a work, you have to make sure that you are utilizing it in the best way possible. I will not deny the fact that a lot of people have come to us looking at the film, reaching out for projects. So we've got a lot of clients in that as well. And in the recent times, it actually blew up, like in the uh, I think from 2000, I think during the pandemic time, right? It's exactly around the pandemic time that the film started getting a lot of views and it became what it is now. Before that, I remember it had like some couple of thousand views only for a very long time. Like since 2012, we uploaded it, but it took like so many years for it to actually blow up. But yeah.
It was actually a fantastic film. When we were preparing for NID and even when we came to NID, we were shown these films and we were like, oh, okay, this is the standard that NID has.
Thank you. It was a very big project. Yeah, we took up, just me and Rajesh, two of us. Took a lot of time for us to finish it also. Almost, if you actually just think about it, okay, when you have a project and you are given, okay, this is exactly the project you're going to do, you can be very sure about the timing. You say, okay, I'll take 1 year to finish this film, whatever. But this project started like an experiment. Me and Rajesh just wanted to try 3D and 2D combination, and it started as an experiment, just time pass project. Uh, then it eventually became our classroom project. Then it became diploma project, and then even then we couldn't finish the film. We had like around 4 minutes, 40 seconds of material with which we graduated, both of us. But then we stayed back in Ahmedabad. We took another 2 years to finish it. So you can say 2007 we started ideating, and 2011 we finished the film. So a lot of time. Also, sorry, I'm looking up and down like this because my webcam is.
No, that's perfectly fine. We actually have our 2021 batch here. They wanted to say
I know
hi. So,
I can see some.
yeah. You guys can unmute and speak if you want to.
Sanika, your mic is still muted.
Yeah, hi. I was on another screen. Hi, Troy. How are you?
Good, yeah. How are you, Sanika?
I'm good. I'm good.
Nice to see. I see you, Pooja, Ratindra is there.
Yeah,
Swapnil is there.
yeah.
Good to see you
Hello,
guys.
hello.
Hi. Oh, and I'm also coming to the campus on July.
Nice. I think we won't be here, so the
Oh,
juniors will be
things are
happy.
done.
Yeah, we are doing our graduation projects right now.
Oh, nice. How's
It's going good. Actually, I'm in Germany right now with
oh,
Isabel.
oh, nice.
Yeah.
We are almost done with our GP.
Cool. Yeah, good, good. All the best for the jury.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Troy, there are some questions that are coming in the chat box, and I'll just moderate on behalf of them.
Yeah.
So one of the questions that we had was, what does a typical brainstorming session at Blackbird look like? Like, what do you guys do, and how does it go about?
Okay. So it depends on the kind of project that you're doing. First of all, if it is going to be an animation film, then there's going to be a lot of discussions like this, um, in at least in the pre-production stage, because all of us will be involved in it, and so we will come up with ideas on what we think, and share it with each other, and then kind of take it from there. But if it is a very specific kind of a project, let's say for example if it is mural project, Then we have individually, individually we all have our own strengths and weaknesses. So illustration, anything to do with illustration or such work, Rajesh will take care of that. So even in terms of pre-production, everything he will take care of that. Anything to do with motion design, 3D, audio, I will take care of it that way. So in such projects, I don't think there is any brainstorming as such, but we do discuss ideas. We do discuss ideas always.
Hello, Troy. I'm
Yep.
Divesh, and I have a question. So I was wondering, just like Good Morning Mumbai, like took so long from 2007 to 2011 to be completed. Were there any other ideas or projects that you might have started that did not come to fruition, but that you learned from that you could apply in Good Morning Mumbai?
Um, there's no project that we have not, like, we thought of it and then we couldn't do, or whatever. Like we've done, like, whatever projects that we did through NID. Um, okay, let me just paraphrase it like this. So from we studied PG. So we had a very short time period in NID. We had like 2 years classes and then one semester full of your graduation project. So considering that we barely had any time, the actual projects started happening from your second semester. The first semester you don't really do anything. You had all sort of what do you call, theoretical subjects and film language and all of these things, right? Only when you get into the second semester you start doing practically some projects, and even in that, the second semester is more to do with learning pre-production. um, so not really again complete films. So technically only 1 year we had time in order to make any films or anything, but we did a lot of projects. Actually, if I just calculate, I think we made at least 4 or 5 films in this span of that 1 year. So we did a stop motion, um, we did a claymation, um, I mean pixelation and claymation. So there are two stop motion ones. Then we did one sand animation, which is a experimental film. Um, so then I think we, yeah, so totally there are 4 films that I have personally worked with. Other than this, there are tiny projects which didn't become a film, but uh, the purpose of it was also to only work till an animatic stage. So that way we had like 2 other projects. One for sound design, we made a short film, and one more, there was one other film that we made. I don't remember exactly right now, but yeah, in total there were around 6 films.
Thank you. And just a small follow-up question, if you don't mind me asking, is like, do you have any future plans of another film like Good Morning Mumbai or of the sort?
Uh, okay, so the aim is to make films, definitely. Uh, but for now, I mean, at least I'll be very honest, there hasn't been a story that I, either me or Rajesh has, what do you call it? It has, um, see, a story has to really affect you in some way or the other, or you should have a personal experience in that story. These are the best stories you can tell. Uh, so in case of Good Morning Mumbai, we both had that personal experience, and that's why it became a film. Now, since then, we really haven't come up with the idea or a concept that really has hit us hard, that we really wanted to make it into a film. But we definitely are open, ears for good ideas, and if we can make another film, it will be really great.
Thank you so much.
There's another question. So they're asking that you have experienced both being a freelancer and working in a studio in a large group of people and commercial spaces. So can you tell us the difference and the amount of freedom that you get in both of these places?
Um, All right. I think you probably might have seen this in memes, where they say time, money, and quality of work. Uh, you won't get all three together. There's only two that is possible. Similarly, with working, independently, that is one thing which you will always have to balance: freedom, money. You know, on one hand, when you work in a commercial, like corporate, you get the money, definitely, but then freedom is somewhat, you don't get leaves, you don't get all of that. But when you're working like this, what we are doing, money is going to be a bit of a problem. And again, this is not the case always. If you know how to manage your work, money is also not a problem. um, so far, touchwood, we have been doing okay. It has not been a real problem, but I really enjoy the freedom right now I have. Say for example, I'm working on many things right now parallelly, and in the meantime, if I do feel like going and teaching somewhere, I have that option of going. So when you are the boss, you can take whatever holidays you want. Like, there's a bit of difference. That is the main difference. Other than that, work is work. Yeah, you go to a commercial place, learning happens everywhere, even if you are in the middle of a lot of people. Um, Neither place is bad in terms of you know what you can learn. You can learn in either places. But yeah, the kind of work that you want to do, for that you might have to find your niche. Once you find your niche, I think it's much more easier.
I had a
Hello, sir.
question.
Yeah, go on.
So you mentioned how the 2 weeks that you went to Mumbai just before you decided to go on with Good Morning Mumbai was like the what is the one specific thing that happened that gave you that, okay, yeah, this is a story that needs an animation.
Okay. um, so see the what do you call, Rajesh used to stay in one of the slums in Bombay. So I went and I stayed in the slum, like, for 2 weeks in his home. And morning time, you have to really go. If you have to do this, you have to go to the common bathroom there, and that means you have to wait in the lines. Not the most hygienic place in the world. And I had this first hand experience there. That is when I realized, man, this problem has never existed in my life. I had my own loo all the time, and this is like, it's just one day. And the first day, and I was like, it's terrible, this is terrible, and people are living like this. So I thought, that is a subject that I really want to express, make this.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Can you just present some of your work, as Foundation hasn't seen any of your work?
Okay. See, presenting through this screen is slightly a bit of an issue. Like I said, see, if you go to our website, Blackbird Design, you can, I mean, unless, okay, wait, let me see if I can share the screen and show you guys some. Okay. What I can do is I can just go through some of the work and I can just talk about them. Um, I think a lot of your seniors have seen all of this work earlier, but I think I can still show a little bit. One second.
Also, I think foundation, all of us are really new to sound design as a concept also. So
Okay.
we would also like to know a bit more about it.
All right. See, sound design, I really don't have, like, I can share this Wade's link. Uh, you know, if I have to talk about Wade, it doesn't make sense for me to now show you a 12-minute film. But I can actually talk a little bit if you guys want. Let me just quickly talk about Wade sound design. Um, you know, the process of it. So Wade is a film. I don't know if you guys have seen it. if you can, please do go on YouTube and search for Wade, and you will find this animated film. So it was done by Ghost Studios. One of my juniors, Upmanyu Bhattacharya and Kalp Sangvi, they both made this film together. Now, this they came to me and they wanted me to do the sound design for this film. And the biggest challenge in that film was tigers. The film involves a lot of tigers, and so they wanted we also wanted to create a bit of characteristics to these tigers. There was different tigers and they all had their own personalities. So how do you bring out that with just using the tiger sounds? And by the way, you can't go around recording tigers. So it was one of the most challenging part for me to kind of go through whatever sounds that are available online, and to pick and choose from these multiple sound sources. That And the thing about getting all these sources from online is that each of the person would have recorded it with a different microphone, different recording equipment, different phones even, and they all sound very different when you hear them one after the other, no? Because everything that you hear, when you hear a sound, the sound doesn't come in isolation. It comes with the space that it is, you know, uh, recorded. So that was the biggest challenge. Like, I had like different sounds, and again, another thing is tigers. Also, there are different species of tigers. Now, if you look at Indian Bengal tiger, has a very different kind of sound compared to Sumatran tiger. So, but online, when you search tiger, you'll get all kinds of sounds. Then how do you match these things? How do you kind of put together? So this was a challenge, and I managed to get that place together. I hope so. I've done a decent job in that. But that film was fun to work with sound. They again gave me a lot of time to explore. Um and they both also came down to Bombay. That's one interesting story, because the film itself is called Wade, and we needed a lot of these water sounds. People wading in through water. So Upmanyu and Kalp had come down to Bombay, and we found whatever water body that was available closest to Bombay, and we all went together to record these wading sounds, water sounds, all of this. And we literally were in the middle of a jungle, splashing water at each other and recording stuff. It was very interesting, nice process, you know. And eventually, yeah, all these sounds had a lot of, uh, because it was like a forest. You had a lot of cricket sounds and other insect sounds and everything. But somehow, due to the nature of what the film is, uh, you know, uh, happening in the sort of time frame and the surrounding, we didn't have to really worry about the insect sounds. If human beings have abandoned a space, obviously other life forms are going to take it up, and so that sound felt like, okay, yeah, it could naturally be that way.
So we actually have the trailer for Wade. It's a 2-minute video. Can we
Ah,
present it so I
yeah,
think the viewers will understand better?
yes, please.
I had a question.
Yeah.
So, did you get any funding for Wade, or like was it all self-funded?
No, Wade actually was crowdfunded. No?
Oh, right. Yeah, it was. So, like the equipment for recording and all you
Oh,
got from the.
my personal thing. So
Ah,
I took,
okay.
and it was not even like anything major. It's like the small handheld one, no? The
I know. Yeah.
so
Okay.
that's all I took. And see, the thing is, once you understand a little bit more of sound engineering, then
Uh-huh.
what you can do is you can um, make a sound really professional with minimal things. I mean, but still you have to take care that your recording is not very noisy. At least that much you will have to do. But in
Yeah.
today's time age, it doesn't matter how noisy or recording sources. AI is just cleaning it up.
Yeah. I was actually like figuring out how to use those. And yeah, another thing is the tiger ka sound. Did you also record that, or like how?
No, no, yeah, that is what I said. I couldn't figure out. I mean, how will I go and record tigers? And first of all, if you have to record tigers, zoo is not the good place. Definitely not.
Yeah.
In India, definitely not. So the other option is to actually go to a tiger reserve and secretly record this. That I was not willing to. Neither did we have the budget to do all of that. So
Right.
mostly sounds I had sourced from online, uh,
Okay.
free sounds, and sometimes not so free also. I shouldn't be admitting this, but yeah, some libraries, sound libraries as
Mhm.
well.
So, like, in terms of, if you want to submit this film for some festival or something, you need to probably credit those people that you have downloaded the sound from, right?
Yeah, see, if you so there is this one little thing again. So if you are going to record a sound, download a sound, and you're going to use it as is, then you certainly have to credit them. Even
Mm-hmm.
if you are not, even if you do a bit of manipulation, and that sound is pretty much a standalone thing in the film that people can hear and definitely say, you definitely have to again do it. But in general, I think it is. What do you call it? It's ethical to mention them and to give credit where it's due.
Right, that makes sense.
Right. And another thing, okay, so here we can talk about the license formats. So there are a lot of people who put their work as what do you call CC license uh, without any copyrights. So in that case, you can use it without even uh, you know mentioning them, not giving any accreditations. Like it can be used. But if they have put it in that sort of a license where you have to credit them, then you just have to credit them. You can still use it for your work, but you have to credit them. So this is again, like you can see in that license. I mean, when you go into freesound.com, you can see what kind of license the file has, so you can use accordingly. It's
Yeah,
a big
so,
resource now.
yeah,
Yeah, right. But
exactly.
again, there if you download, it'll immediately say, you know, whom to
Yeah.
credit. So
So, like a follow-up question on that. So, have you ever copyrighted your music, like whatever piece, if you have created for any for film or something, have you ever copyrighted those?
not really. I have not personally done it because say if I'm working for a film, that means the director has the copyright of the film. But
Okay, right.
for audio, again, uh, I don't think we have really done anything so far in that. But
Okay.
but good advice is to actually copyright your work.
Okay.
Definitely.
Thank you.
I have not done any. See, there are in many cases where you have to sign a contract saying that the copyright belongs to whoever the client is.
Uh-huh.
So in such case, they specifically ask this and they take that. In that case, you cannot claim exclusive copyrights. But otherwise, you can. Like, you should make copyrights definitely.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I would like to ask you, as music was a really major part of your journey, even I heard stories about how the name Blackbird came with. There is again a music behind it. So
Oh,
how was it like? Who is your favorite music artist or like background artist?
okay. So see, Tamil film industry is where the music inspiration started because I'm obviously from there, and for a very long time I was not exposed to any other forms of music. So I'm talking about childhood, like really small. But around the same time, my dad used to listen to a lot of you know 80s pop music. I don't know if you guys know bands like ABBA and Boney M and Eagles, and I don't know. There's a bunch. I think he used to even listen to some artist called Jim Reeves. He used to make a lot of American popular music guy. So these were some of the influences. I think I have to give a lot of credit to A.R. Rahman because I loved his music. It kind of suddenly changed my what do you call um, like affinity towards music. Till that time, I used to listen to music, but not really so much. But since Rahman's Roja came, the whole scene changed. I started listening to his music. I still like listening to his music. Like you kind of see what all elements he has put into the composition. There's a lot of little surprise you'll hear in a composition, which you otherwise you just generally listen to a song, you listen to the melody, and you say okay, done. But when you start listening to what elements has he put to create that whole composition, you realize that okay, there's a lot of layers, there's a lot of very interesting things. So Rahman definitely at that point of time. Then eventually in college there's a lot of rock and roll, Pink Floyd, some of my influences. Now a lot of electronic music, but I do. I don't know.
Also, how was it starting a design studio? Like many of the people in college, also they are enthusiastic about establishing their own studio. So, do you think like would you have started the Blackbird Studio a little earlier, or like was it the right time to start after experiencing through different industries?
Um, okay. So I don't know if you might have heard this term, no? Your network defines your net worth. This is very true when it comes to actually having a bit of a network. So I would actually advise you guys. You see, it's good to have a startup immediately as soon as you get done, but then you need to have a very clear idea who your client is going to be. Is it possible to develop a clientele uh, at that stage? So I think we started quite okay um, because we all had like few years of work experience in the industry, and so we already had a small network. Beyond that, I think NID is a much larger network. Um, so you can start if you want to, but then have some clarity in terms of who your clients will be. You know how do I develop my clientele? These are questions you have to really ask, and then if you have a I mean if you can picture it that okay, yeah, these are the places that I can tag on, so you can then start. And I mean, try starting, yeah. It's okay when you are really young now. Even if you fail, you still have chance of coming back. But that sort of thing becomes much difficult later. But yeah, take some experience before you get into it. It's better like once you have like 10 different people who know what kind of work you do, it will be much easier. Now when you become a firm, then people will remember you. Like okay, I want to get this kind of work done, I know whom to approach. So that is important to kind of have.
As a non-CD person, I have this doubt. I don't know if it makes sense, but uh, when it comes to sound design, does they
animation matter as much, or is it more about just the story? Like, does the style of animation or the style of the animatics change how your sound design is, or or does the animation change based on the sound design? How's
Okay.
that?
So there are examples of films where sound design dictates what the visual should be like. Uh, and on the other hand, you also in majority you have the visuals that dictate how the sound design should be. So it could go either which ways. It all depends on the story. The main thing is the story and how we set the narrative structure. So once you have that, then everything depends on that.
So usually it's like the animatics is made first
Yeah,
and then sound
yeah.
is added to it.
Usually that is the method in which they do. But if there are some examples where the sound designer is also involved in the pre-production stage, and so their input can also be used then to define how the narrative structure should be.
Okay. There is a question in the chat box. So someone is asking like, what makes a good portfolio stand out today in your opinion?
Huh. Okay, a good portfolio at any time, any given time, precision is very important. When somebody looks at your portfolio, they should know, okay, yeah, this person is good at this. That clarity should be there. I mean, you can also have very diverse work, but again, even with that diverse work, you just make sure that it gives a clear idea when somebody is looking at it. No, they should have a clear idea that okay, yeah, this person is good at this. This sort of an what do you call impression that this person is good at it is the fundamental thing in creating a portfolio. So whatever you do, have that focus clear. I mean, we had the film and some other work that we did in NID put together. So when you are when you are a student, just try and do as many work as possible. So that is how you will be able to have a choice. Like, okay, yeah, this work is good. I'll put this. Otherwise, when you have very limited number of work, then you will have no choice. You will have to put everything together. So just make sure that that is there. And again, see, don't make a portfolio that can be applied anywhere and everywhere. There has to be a clarity. Once you have that clarity, now you know that okay, I'm applying in this company, and this company is actually aiming for taking this kind of this kind of work and this kind of person. Then it becomes much more easier. Your CV gets through. So keep that also in mind. But then in general, just put good work. That's as simple as it can get.
I had another interesting question. So, NID, the place that it is, once a couple of us were trying out unconventional instruments. Like, we got a lot of random things and tried to make sounds out of it. And we found certain things that made very, like, eccentric, very unconventional sounds. So, were there any such sounds that you made or found that you later on added to your films?
Okay. So, I mean, there's this one ident that we created um, for Blackbird Design. It's a stop motion. I think in that I had recorded sounds of boxes, and I created the entire music with whatever that I could record with just the sounds of boxes, rubber bands, and stuff. So this was there, and otherwise also sometimes I do record a lot of things. Yeah, there's a see the art of foley recording and creating sounds with that is a very interesting art. So I remember taking like a small what do you call sort of a gear which makes the sort of a noise and manipulating that sound to make it sound like a large machine is moving. So that's just a small example, but you can pretty much manipulate the sound to create so much interesting stuff. So yeah, uh, if you guys want to, I think you can check in that website. Can you present that thing? Short video. It's a very short video. So you can just show that. If you go to Blackbird Design website, you can see that ident over there.
Yeah, I'll just present it. Is it this one?
Yeah, the that is making off, but the one which is below that, yeah,
This one. Okay.
yeah, very short. So all the sounds you heard in that was pretty much, recordings of boxes like carton boxes, and even the musical notes that you hear are sounds of a rubber band being plucked, manipulated into different pitches and creating, bass, the melody and everything. So that was that project.
So the complete sound design on that project was handled by you.
Yeah, yeah. So
How do you balance your intuition versus the user feedback during such projects where you are mainly leading the sound part?
uh,
How do you balance your intuition versus the team feedback over the sound that you're working on the projects?
uh, okay, so I'll be very honest about this. Unless somebody who knows exactly what they want, oftentimes the clients have no idea what they want in the sound, you know, and they often take whatever that I give. And if unless there is something that is really not working, and they feel like, okay, then they give me their opinion, and then I listen to them, and then accordingly I adjust. But otherwise it is that, I mean, when somebody also see, it's it both ways. Okay, when a client knows exactly what they want, it is much easier for you also to understand what they want, and it's easy to produce. But at the same time, when the client has no idea what they want, then you are, you know doing something out of your intuition, and then you hope that it works, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So when it doesn't work, then you kind of understand what the client wants. Like in such meetings where, whether it works or not, doesn't work, in such meetings you will get to know what they are looking at. So it's something that also comes by experience. Once you have done like 4 or 5 work in that same sphere, then the sixth or seventh film becomes much more easy, and you know exactly what they would want.
So, Troy, you were in NID almost more than a decade ago. So, at that time, what was NID Ahmedabad like, and what were the experiences that you remember and things that shaped you?
Okay. Uh, I miss that place a lot. I'll be very honest, because that's one place. It's kind of a bubble. Like once you enter, you feel like you are in the most safe space. Also, actually, to be very honest, there was no. What I liked about this place has always been about how free and open the place is in terms of your uh, both intellectual explorations. You know, um, So for me, I had a great time in NID Ahmedabad. So obviously, I miss. That's why I miss that place. But what I also liked is the, the diverse you know, people who come to NID. At least during my time, um, people from all walks of life come there, and the place used to be very diverse in terms of that. So ideas used to be very different from each other. Um, and see, I can't comment anything about current situation because I'm not there. I haven't been there, but at least in my time, it used to be a lot of fun. A lot of learnings happen because you also have a place which is very small in number. No? So you have a very intimate relationship with each and every one. You know, okay, when you have these random talks with with a person who doesn't belong anywhere near your state. You so in that conversation you learn so much about their culture, their practices, all of that. So that way, yeah, definitely a great place, and that's why I would suggest when you are there as student right now, na, interact with each other as much as possible. I mean, everyone should know everyone. It's as simple as that. I mean, when I say no, no, not like say hi, bye, done. Like get to know each other and everyone. I mean, there's very different stories, interesting ones from we all have. So try and share that.
I feel
Sorry,
like
did I
a lot
answer
of
the?
us in
I thought I digressed.
a lot of us
No,
in
no, no.
college face problems with like motivation and creativity. So how do you deal with all of that in general?
Uh, yeah, this is something. I'm not a motivational speaker, but I'll try and give my uh, thing. So how it worked for me? Okay, I still am very keen on learning something. I'm very keen on doing something. So there is not a single day that I have not what do you call where my mind is not ready to learn something. So even today, I'm exploring new things. Trying to make music with Linux operating system, seeing what softwares are there. You know, then getting into modular synthesis methods and trying to figure out that. Or if I'm going to Blender, I'll suddenly start learning geometry nodes, how they work, node based stuff. So see, this is something that has to come from within, right? Nobody can actually make you sit and do something, but at least what you have to do is discover what interests you. Like try and figure out, okay, what interests you, and then you just have to do it. And again, do not expect results at least immediately. I mean, we are in a time period where everything needs instant gratification. But that should not be the case. Just do it for the just the sake of doing it. Let's say if you really enjoy illustrating, just do it just for the sake of it, and that is the way you can actually you'll keep doing and you'll keep getting better at it, and then you will also find your path eventually, but you have to keep doing it. Yeah, and that motivation, I mean, that has to come from within. No amount of motivational speakers can help that. Do you have more questions? So,
I've had a project the
Preetham, sorry, we can't hear you clearly. If you can either type it in.
Meanwhile, there is another question in the chat box. Have you ever had any identity crisis as a designer? Or like, how do you deal with it?
No, I mean, see, I didn't really personally have so much of this identity crisis as such, but But I think what would help is not to think about, and I know it's easy to say this way, don't think about this, but it isn't that easy. But I would suggest now, when your mind is occupied with something, then you don't have time to think about all of this. Like, just so keep your mind occupied with something, and learning is the best way to occupy yourself. And I mean, that's why it's important to have some hobbies, have some. Also, this is another slight, you know, digression. Um, I used to play a lot of board games. Okay, me, my Rajesh, and there's a bunch more guys in NID. We used to play a lot of board games, and we used to play a lot. When I say a lot. Uh, this is also one of the reasons Good Morning Mumbai became. I mean, took a lot of time for us to finish, because I remember the 3 months break we used to take for what, play games in the middle. I'm just saying that there has to be something your mind is occupied with. Then you will not be worried about these things. Yeah. I mean, everyone will get. I also got at some point. I had this thought that what am I doing with my life, but it happens. But just get back to it. Like, get occupy your mind with something, and the best thing is to learn something new.
Okay, does the audience have any more questions?
Preetham had a question, but I don't think we could hear him.
Mhm. Okay, if not, then we can wrap it up. Our last final question that we ask to every guest speaker that we have. What is some lesson or eye opener that you had in your journey that we can learn from you today?
Okay, now this is a this is a tough one. Um, no, in general, I mean, at least not exactly in design, but I would say in general life. Um, Somebody was asking just now, did you have any identity crisis? So we at the moment now are living in a time where, I mean, I would say you guys have a very tough time, because of how social media is, around you all the time. And the, as a generation, it's much more tougher for you not to have identity crisis. So I would suggest, at least in such a period, it is important to kind of, focus on what you want to do in life, and just not get too distracted by online situation. Yeah, there's a high level of distraction that is available right now for us, and there's barely any time. So again, with time, I would suggest that, um, maybe I'm not s- using the right words, but yeah, time is very less for all of us. We have this little time on this planet, so try and utilize it as much as possible. And especially when you are in campus college days, 4 years flies by like anything, and these 4 years are going to be one of the best times of your life. Maybe not for everyone, but at least for majority of people, because outside world is also again another struggle, but we'll have to push through. But very importantly, yeah, think of time as a important thing. I do have some, at some moments I do regret certain things about my life, and all that has got to do with how I manage time. That's all, nothing else. Not my decisions, none of it, but how I manage time is a very important thing. Yeah, I wasn't prepared for this question, sorry.
That's okay. It was a lovely answer. And we had an amazing session with you. I think we all learned a lot. And it was really nice to see you again after Chitrakatha.
Okay, thank you so much for getting me here. uh, I mean, it was pretty much, improvisation, but uh, I was also not aware format and everything, but I hope I was able to, be of some use. And thank you all for listening to me all this while.
Troy, it's always nice to hear you. That's why we all came. Like, it was nice. listening to you again.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. I had a good time as well. Yeah, it's always nice to share, your experience.
We'll
And
wait to
hopefully,
meet you
I'll see you
offline on
somehow
campus.
soon. Sorry.
We'll be saying that we're excited to meet you offline on campus.
All right. Same here. I will see you soon. Yeah.
Yes, see you soon.
All right.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Thank you.
Layover, stay back.
Everyone left.
Good session.
Good session.
Good session. Thanks.
Good session. It was nice.
Wasn't good. YouTube बंद हो गया ना? Or are we still
Yes.
streaming? अच्छा.
Ah, it's closed. It's closed.
I'll stop recording. I think chat was not a better option.